I just made my own band's music video, and here's the kicker. I'm quite literally half of the band. So my band Graveless just came out with a new music video a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to talk about the process of making the video. The song is called The Creator's Curse, and it's about how creatively inclined people kind of have a tendency to be a little bit harsher on themselves and their own work than other people. So while brainstorming some ideas, I came up with a quick story about how an artist is trying to create a new piece and getting frustrated and then promptly destroying it. In this sort of creation, destruction kind of theme, I had a few ideas from different art forms that I wanted to include in the video, from painting to pottery, dancing, and music, but ultimately I landed on the painting idea and just kind of ran with that instead of trying to incorporate all the other ones just for the sake of not overcomplicating things and blowing our budget out of the water. Speaking of overcomplicating things, we had a guest vocalist on part of the song and we didn't have access to the vocalist who performed their section, so we had to try and come up with a way around that. What we ended up doing was just painting the lyrics on canvases and using that as sort of like faux lyric video kind of thing to fit the theme of the video. I then wrote out a bit of a timeline to figure out how the story would flow through the song, as well as create a shot list. And then I made a list of props that we would need and created a shopping list at Michael's and Menards. Since we were self-funding this video and we're all poor, we didn't want to go too over budget on anything, so even for the location, we ended up just using my parents' garage. I think the space worked for us. We flagged off a lone window to make it as dark as possible in order to give us the most flexibility with lighting. For the backdrop, what we ended up doing was using black plastic tarp, and we just gaff taped that up against the garage door and laid some on the floor. We used this because I really liked how it reflected light. It just looked really interesting to me, so I wanted to kind of play around with it. Also, because just a garage door doesn't look very flattering. For lighting, I used an Tamron 60X with a big softbox on a C-stand and the Godox TL60 tube lights as practicals and backlighting. And I think it came out pretty decent. Filming went about as smoothly as you would expect on a film set, but also about as smoothly as you could hope for with just the two of us and my brother helping us out. It got very hot in the garage and we actually had to siphon air conditioning out of my parents' house in order to help cool us off. In terms of timeline, we went with shooting vocals first and then guitars and then bass, and then we broke for dinner. And to properly rehydrate, make sure you're drinking lots of water on set. And then after dinner, we went back out and changed up the lighting again and shot all of the story scenes. We shot from around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon until about 2 a.m. And by the end there, we were getting very loopy.
Nah, man, I didn't get the vaccine. I really trust just my body right now. like I'm in peak physical condition. Like this is the real me. I didn't get the vaccine. Sweet.
Oh no, I'm bleeding.
Oh no, no.
Alrighty, Ethan finished the painting, and now with the story, he is spitting out blood onto the painting. So
when I try this for the first time and I just spill it out, I'm just gonna, well, do we want to do like a test run first, or are we just gonna fucking let it bug?
Don't spit it on the canvas, because I would like...
I'll just drip it, I'll drip it over here.
Yeah, you might want to put the bottle down because I can see it. Oh yeah, you also might want palette and paintbrush. All right, so you're working on the painting. Now you feel sick all of a sudden. Wonderful.
I had this really fucking stupid idea.
I hope you're fine with those jeans getting blood on them.
Also having like Vans with like fake blood on them will make me look, I'll be the coolest kid at all the hardcore shows. Everyone's gonna be like, yo, sick shoes. Do you know what? This actually doesn't taste that bad.
But all in all, I think I got all of the shots that I needed, and I don't feel like I didn't have enough when I was going through the edit. Now, speaking of the editing, let's get into the edit. The rough cut went by very quickly. It was very simple. I knew where each story beat was going to be placed within the song, so I placed them there, as well as just cutting the instrumentals to the song. It was when I was getting into effects is when things started taking a little bit longer. Remember the lyrics that we painted onto the canvases? I made a misspelling on one of them. I thought this looked very unprofessional, but we didn't have the resources to repaint the lyrics, so we just shot it as is, and I figured I would just put it on Future Lane to fix it in post. Just FYI, try not to do that when you're on a shoot. Try and make sure that you shoot things so that there's less VFX work going into post-processing. I knew that I had the capabilities of fixing this, but sometimes not everyone is going to be able to fix it in post. Anyway, to fix the misspelling, what I did was I exported a frame out of Premiere and brought that frame into Photoshop and clone stamped out the misspelling and fixed it there. Then I brought that frame into After Effects and tracked that back onto the canvas. The tracking wasn't too difficult. There was really only one shot that was handheld, so really I just needed to track one shot. The rest were on tripod and really didn't need to be tracked, but it did need a little bit of blending finesse in order to make it work. It does look a little bit janky if you look close enough, but I think it's blended in well enough to where it's really hard to notice. Another issue that I ran into in production is that Ethan is freakishly tall, and actually quite a bit taller than the set allowed for. So in order to get around that problem, what we did was I typically had Ethan either leaning over or outright kneeling on the ground in order to prevent his head going above the set. There are times where I do show a little bit above the set in frame, but what I did to fix that is just using letterbox and then cropping it out in post-production. After all of this work was done, I then went into Premiere and just added effects where I felt like they needed to increase the intensity where the video needed it during the song. And then as soon as that was done, I shipped it off to print. Or wait, this is digital. So not shipped to print. I shipped it to a media encoder and then uploaded it to YouTube. And there you have it, my process for making this music video. If you haven't seen it yet, please go to the Graveless YouTube channel and give it a watch. There will be a link to the video down in the notes below. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's not really a tutorial type of video, but it's more of an insight and reflection on the process of making a music video, and it kind of helps me to document my journey as a filmmaker, which I think helps me out a little bit with improvement, and it gives me a bit of documentation to see where I was at X years ago or X months ago. As always, I enjoy discussing camera and audio gear, so if you have any questions or just want to discuss things, please leave a comment down below and I will reply to it and add to the discussion or try to answer questions to the best of my abilities. If you found this video helpful in any way or just enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
State